So in my reading, my devotional time, in my Bible reading plan, I came across this one phrase which I was not familiar with, and it was in the book of Revelation. Let me share that with you. It's this whole thing on the teaching of, or the doctrine of Balaam. And so I was in Revelation 2:14, and this is Jesus addressing the church of Pergamum, whom he scolded for tolerating the teaching of Balaam. I didn't know what that was. The whole account of Balaam is found in Numbers 22, where his donkey, Balaam being the prophet, is on his way to see King Balak or Balak, king of Moab. Okay, right there, that should tell you that that's a problem anyway. Moab, the enemy of Israel, to pursue a campaign of seduction against them, being the Israelites. That's not good. Balaam, a prophet, was willing to use his God-given talents for illicit purposes. And here is Balaam counseling a heathen king on the most effective way to weaken Israel. And that was through seduction, sexual relationships, and into pagan rituals. According to 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 15, Balaam's way is a choice to promote falsehood for financial reasons. Keep that in mind as I continue on this little video blog. Balaam's error was his willingness to accommodate pagan beliefs out of greed. Jude 1:4 refers to the sin of those who pervert the grace of our God into a license for immorality. And one trait of false teachers in the church is that they attempt to turn Christian liberty into a quote-unquote freedom to be promiscuous. Romans 14:1-5. And basically this whole teaching is based on the attitude that one can be fully cooperative with the world and still serve God. This doctrine of Balaam is willing to compromise beliefs for the sake of economics and treats sin as no big deal. Now, while we as Christians can't and shouldn't totally shun the presence of sinners or unbelievers, we are obligated to stand up for truth, righteousness, and goodness, whether it's what others want to hear or not. So, again, back to what this has to do with my study. Well, I came across this other video on YouTube, and this was on the Alex Jones InfoWars channel, and it talks, I had no idea this was happening. Not only are the Boy Scouts changing their name to just Scouts, it's this whole idea of making it gender neutral. Check out this commercial that promotes the upcoming Boy Scouts or Scouts gathering. I think it's held every 4 years. This one's coming up next year. Check this out. Pretty disturbing.
Get ready to unlock a new world by joining us for 12 days of peace, friendship, and adventure at the 24th World Scout Jamboree. What makes this World Scout Jamboree so special? It's an experience like none other, with wild and wonderful adventures like rock climbing, mountain biking, skateboarding, zip lining, whitewater rafting, and sex. Just weeks after the controversial name change of the Boy Scouts to the Scouts, more controversy is following the organization after they made the announcement that condoms will be made readily available to all participants of their 24th annual Jamboree. The Jamboree, which is held every 4 years, attracts tens and thousands of Scouts from all over the world, ranging from 14 to 17 years of age. And not only will they be providing condoms to the kids, they'll also be providing alcohol to the parents of the Scouts in specified locations. John Stenberger, chairman of the board of Trail Life USA, an alternative scouting organization, said it is not clear how far down the rabbit hole the Boy Scouts will continue to fall. All of this should be deeply disturbing to the churches that are chartering Boy Scout troops, and these policies present a clear youth protection problem that the BSA absolutely refuses to recognize. The fact that they are requiring that
All right, so let me show you this article, see if I can find it. I had to look this up myself. Here it is. Outrageous Boy Scouts may provide condoms at the World Scout Jamboree, according to the Daily Wire. Health and safety guidelines for the event on page 11 of the handbook. The host organization must ensure that the condoms are readily and easily accessible for all participants. The use of alcohol shall not be permitted at the jamboree. Some exceptions may be made for adults in confined areas. It's starting to look more like a 1960s Woodstock festival rather than a camp out that the parents want to send their children to. All of this should be deeply disturbing to the church that are chartering Boy Scout troops. So here's the point. If this is happening, what's next? And I personally feel like this is a total, complete assault and attack on values, of which the Boy Scouts originally stood for. You know, family, God, country, and faith, and all that. So, though I don't think the Boy Scouts are necessarily a Christian organization, they do honor God, okay, and certainly family. And the whole idea of providing condoms to minors and then bringing the two genders together is going to create a problem. It is a dangerous and slippery slope. And it just kind of sounds like, from what I understand, the Boy Scouts enrollment and membership has dropped drastically. At one point, I think it was in the 70s or something like that, they had up to 5 million members, or Boy Scout memberships, enrollees. And as of recent, they're down to half of that. And it's since then, since 2017, it's dropped under 12%. So again, I'm feeling, or led to believe, that yes, the left is influencing this, and yes, there is movement to destroy the values for which the Boy Scouts stand for. But I think that it's also economically and financially driven. It's not becoming a function of trying to help this organization somehow survive. Let me share another video clip with you guys I think you'll find interesting, and then I'll wrap this up. Check this out. Tucker Carlson.
Well, the Boy Scouts, as the Boy Scouts, ceased to exist yesterday. The century-old group is now Scouts BSA. The new gender-neutral name is designed to reflect the group's new openness to admitting girls. The Boy Scouts going co-ed eliminates one of the last healthy all-male groups open to young men. Given that young men are really struggling in this country, what are the implications of this, if any? Tammy Bruce is a radio host. She thinks deeply about changes to American society, so we wanted to ask her view. How are you doing, Tammy?
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So I've got a bunch of girls, and I love them, and I want what's best for them. And so, joining the Boy Scouts is good for them. I'm for that. But I really worry that there aren't many places where boys can be boys, where they're not under attack for being boys. And I always thought of the Boy Scouts as one of those places, and now it isn't that. So should I be worried?
Well, I think that this does not indicate that that's the case, I think, really. Let's keep in mind this is out also perhaps declining membership. In the 70s, the Boy Scouts had like 5 million members. They've gone down about 12% since 2012. They're at about 2.3 million now. So this is also, we want the Boy Scouts to survive. They've been instrumental in the strength of the country, in creating leaders in government, in science, in space travel. We need them. And I think,
well, they've been instrumental in influencing the culture at some level. And so now that influence is about to be compromised. You can watch the rest of this interview. You just go out to YouTube and look up Rest in Peace Boy Scouts and Tucker Carlson, and then of course Ben Shapiro. I'm going to show you a quick clip on that. But if you watch the rest of this video clip, you'll see this lady, Tammy Bruce. It's almost like she's struggling to find the the positive in this direction that the Boy Scouts are going. Let's skip over to our friend, and then there's some stuff here on The View which are just, I don't even watch because anyway, you guys can watch it. I'm not watching it. It's messed up. Whoopi Goldberg, seriously. All right, so check out what our friend Ben Shapiro has to say.
Meanwhile, in breaking news, apparently the Boy Scouts of America are now going to change their name. So we've reached the point in American society where it is just not tolerant enough for there to be things like Boy Scouts anymore. There's a famous clip of me online talking to a woman about transgenderism in which we're talking about the Boy Scouts, and she says, why shouldn't girls be allowed to be in the Boy Scouts? Meaning, why shouldn't girls who believe they're boys be allowed in the Boy Scouts? And I said, because it's called the Boy Scouts, right? It's for boys. Well, now the Boy Scouts have changed their names. They've already been moving to the left on a bunch of social issues under pressure from various state governments. The state of California tried to remove the state tax-exempt status of the Boy Scouts of California
Economics,
if they had not
teaching
actually
of Balaam,
allowed gay scoutmasters,
right?
for example.
They're about to lose their
The
nonprofit
Boy Scouts have become a
standing.
much more secular organization, and they've begun admitting girls as well. According to the New York Post today, for 108 years, the Boy Scouts of America's flagship program has been known simply as the Boy Scouts, with girls soon entering the ranks. The group says that iconic name will change. Now, you may be asking yourself, why can't there be a Girl Scouts? Because there are Girl Scouts, and they sell me cookies. So what's the deal? Why does there have to be a Boy Scouts that allows girls? And the answer is because the left is so stupid and terrible that they believe that any such situation in which boys play only with boys must by its very nature be sexist and discriminatory. This is insanely dumb. Boys should be allowed to have groups with other boys. Girls should be allowed to have groups with other girls. And it is stupid to suggest that this is some form of nefarious discrimination. It's very important for males to bond with one another. And it's important for them to do so in the absence of females sometimes. The same thing is certainly true for women. There are lots of places in America where women get together and they are just with other women, as in every brunch ever. This happens a lot. And that's okay. It's good. It's important. People should be allowed to associate with the people they want to associate with in the United States of America. But the left has pressured the Boy Scouts so much that now they not only are admitting girls, and they now are renaming themselves. Well, this comes along with a fair bit of irony, because there's one group that's actually super ticked about this. The Girl Scouts. The Girl Scouts are really mad that the Boy Scouts are now allowing girls. They're afraid that the Boy Scouts are going to suddenly have Girl Scout troops, and suddenly the Girl Scouts, which is an independent organization, will cease to exist. It will actually fall out of favor. The whole thing is really dumb. Chief Scout Executive Mike Serp.
All right, so as you can see, this starts to get really twisted. So what's this got to do with us Christians? If your church is holding Boy Scout meetings and in your church and so forth, look into this. I mean, the whole thing about offering condoms to minors, where is that going to take us? Okay, stand up for truth. Let it not be said that you and I are engaging in the teaching of Balaam. Okay. And so more on this can be said, but certainly I would love to hear your comments. And again, you can see the video for yourself. There's a couple of them, and I already made reference to the one I saw on InfoWars, where I first saw this thing about condoms being offered at now the Scouts, no longer Boy Scouts of America, but the Scouts. Anyway. Post your comments below. Let me know what you think, and let me know that you're even seeing these videos, because I, along with many of you, our content, our material, and all that is being censored on the interwebs. All right, talk to you guys later.